Alright, fellas, let's get right into this thing. UFC 315 coming at May 10th. Starting at 6:30 EST with the prelims going into the main card at 10 p.m. We are looking at Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Boys, I think we're in for a fucking banger today. Alright, so fellas, the first fight of the night, we're getting Brad Katona versus Baksat Al-Makan. Now, Baksat Al-Makan, you might remember his name from his fight with Umar Nurmagomedov last year or the year prior, where he dropped Umar. People might forget that he dropped him in the first round just to get dominated for the next 3 rounds straight. So, I'm believing this is probably going to be a round one finish, but we've got to look at Brad Katona. He is a decision machine. So you might look at that. I'm saying round one finish. I'm probably not going to pick him for this fight. People don't acknowledge this. He submitted Bryce Mitchell in the Ultimate Fighter. Couldn't tell you which season it was on. I don't actually watch the Ultimate Fighter. But he submitted Bryce Mitchell, which is insane. His main game, Ragatona, is to take people down. And he's good at getting the takedowns, but he's not very good at keeping you down on the ground. Which is less than ideal for his fight type, because he doesn't really have hands. So the takedowns are what he needs, but he can't keep them, bro. And being a Canadian male in UFC Canada, from prior experiences, doesn't typically go well. The Canadian men do not seem to fare too well in these fights usually. But we're looking at Baksat Almakan. He's had over a year to work on his wrestling. Now, he got dominated by Umar, but Brad Katona is nowhere near the same level slash pedigree of Umar. So I think this is going to be a pretty exciting fight for the first round, because I'm saying first round TKO by Almakan. We'll see how well this one pays off. I would really like to see if Beksat's Almakan's takedown defense has improved, or if he just stays good on the ground, if he can take over the fight and just handle Katona on the ground. Would be very interesting since he is from that region of Europe, where takedowns, are kind of a big part of their game, if you were unaware. Then, we're moving on to Mini Du Bronx, Daniel Santos versus Lee Jung-young. This fight, battle of inactivity. These fellas haven't fought in a year, both of them together. Daniel Santos, 2 years. Lee Jung-young, 1 year. Lee Jung-young got dominated in his last fight. It was rough. It was entertaining, don't get me wrong. But this man ate 38 punches in a combo. Amazing combo where they were just scrapping the entire time. It looked like two drunk uncles fighting at a barbecue. But I love those types of fights, so I enjoy those moments. And then Daniel Santos, not super different. He got dropped 4 times in his last fight before delivering two disgusting knees in the clinch and dropping, was it Sexy Mexi? Yes, Sexy Mexi was his nickname. John Casta something. Casta something. 1 second. Sorry, fellas, had to lock in my info. Yes, John Castellano. Sexy Mexi had an amazing fight with Daniel Santos. He actually fought last week against Chris Gutierrez, which didn't look amazing in that fight. It was a very mid performance in that fight, which is scary to look at because he dropped Daniel Santos 4 times, which is a less than ideal look. But he's had 2 years off to improve, and he is one of De Bronx's boys. He trains out of Chuta Box in Brazil, so can only imagine this man has been training. And he's looking for a barn burner here. Because Lee Jung-young, his stand-up looked horrible. And the issue is, I think he's a stand-up fighter. I don't think he really has that ground game. So I would actually really enjoy seeing the ground game of this, because I would like to see Daniel Santos get a nice win here. Because I'm a big fan of the Charles Oliveira boys and all they've got going on at Shooter Box. So I could see this fight going to Santos through submission. I'm going to say this is a fight of a night banger. I'm saying this is fight of the night for this card. I'm not gonna lie to you. I could see it being a banger until round 3, where they both drop each other. I could definitely see that, both dropping each other, and in round 3, it ends via Daniel Santos with an armbar, or I could really see a Darce choke happening here in one of the scrambles. I could see Lee Jung Young falling into that, which would be a crazy prediction if I get it right. So let's see how that goes on Saturday. And the fight after that, we have oh we have a fun fight. We got Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to see a retirement scrap of the ages. So Bruno Silva, he had a really nice win streak until he met the man we know as Alex Pereira. Shama, dodo de po, Shama. So he met him after coming off of a 5 win streak, and then the UFC decided to put him against him, where he went 3 rounds, which I don't know if y'all have been keeping up. Alex Pereira typically finishes his opponents in brutal fashion. So for Bruno Silva to go 3 rounds with him while he was on the up and coming, this is before he fought Izzy. So that is crazy that he managed to blockhead his way against him. Ultimately, he got beat the entire fight, but still not to get knocked out by Alex Pereira is insane work by him. Marc-Andre Barriault, on the other hand, got slept by Smokin' Joe Pyfer. And, dude, I can't even remember the other guy's name, but he brutalized him. So he's met God in his last 2 fights. He was left on the canvas praying against Joe Pyfer. The other fight, he kind of, he got knocked out, but it wasn't anywhere near as bad as the Pyfer knockout. He still had his motor functions around him with that. But the way I see Marc-Andre Barriault fighting, he's really a blockhead brawler. I mean, he's, as I want to say it was Lucas Tracy announced, he was the first marauder almost. And what an amazing way of saying that, because he's the perfect description of that. He loves to get in scraps where he might not be winning them, but hey, he's going to stand there and bang with you regardless. So my thing with Bruno is he doesn't lose fights unless it's decision or submission. I don't see Marc-Andre Barriault knocking Bruno out. If Alex cut in, I don't see Mark doing it. However, Bruno's last couple fights, dude, it looks like he couldn't care less about them. It looks like he hasn't trained from him whatsoever. He just looks unfocused while he's in there, which might be the way Marc-Andre Barriault catches him. I could see him catching him somehow, but unless that happens, I see it going to Bruno. I just think he's a bit of a better fighter. They're both kind of bottom of the barrel fighters, no disrespect, but they're just not the fighter they used to be, both sides of it. So I could see this going to Bruno Silva. I think it's going to be a close decision. I'm going to say 29-28. I think it'll be a fun little scrap. There might be some boring moments where we're out of breath because I could see stamina being issues for both of them. Is that tattoo of a gopher? I'm sorry, I've never seen that. He has a gopher on his chest. I'm kind of tempted to change my decision after that, but I'm gonna stick with Bruno Silva. Didn't realize he had a gopher on his chest. That's fire. After that, we're going to Navajo Sterling versus Ivan Arslan. Now, before I put Navajo Sterling in here, I had White Asanya on here. I don't know why I don't see the resemblance of Israel Adesanya in here after writing that. But I think this, if the last fight between Daniel Santos and Lee Jung Young isn't a fight of the night, this one will take the cake for that. This is meant to be a banger, boys. These two are two kickboxers with power in their hands. Now, Navajo, in his last fight, he fought Taco Tucos. Didn't get the result he wanted. Unfortunately, it went to decision in kind of a lackluster fight, which he seemed really upset about. So he has a point to prove in this fight. And boys, I don't know if y'all have kept up. He does stream on Twitch. Now, I did my research. I checked his stream. Boys, he streamed 10 days ago. He's not locked in. He is not locked in. I say that, But the time he streamed before that was 6 months ago, so I guess I'll give him a pass. You know, he's just enjoying his hobbies while he's there. But Ivan Urslan, this man is a mad car salesman. This dude is pissed, bro. He just came off a split decision with Ion Kutabala, and he is pissed, bro. No one wants to buy his cars, and he needs to make a way of living. So he's gonna have a banger with fucking Navajo Sterling today. I can feel it. Not today, sorry, on Saturday. But Ivan Urslan, he had an interesting loss on his career. He has a loss to the current KSW champ by TKO. Now, it was a pretty quick finish. I saw it was pretty bad. Didn't look great on Ivan Urslan's part. But to have a fight with a KSW champion, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, I'm saying this because I think Ivan is a pretty big step up in competition for Navajo. Now, Taco Tucos, I don't know how he's in the UFC. Ivan Urslan, I could see why he's in the UFC. He's a pretty good fighter. He has power in his hands, and he's a nice kickboxer. We're going to see a great kickboxing scrap on Saturday, boys. Now, with that said, I think it'll be fun, an extremely exciting kickboxing fight while it happens. Until round 2, boys, I'm predicting a TKO by Navajo Sterling. I think this is going to be the fight that makes this man's career. I think he is going to start shining after this and go on a bit of a streak, which he's already on I want to say a 6-fight win streak. But this is going to cement his place, dude. I can see him becoming a bit of a little hype train after this fight. I think he's going to get a nice finish against this guy, and we're going to see some big things for this guy. So after this fight, we are going on to Modestas Bakakis versus Ion Kutabala. Now, fellas, I'm seeing a Chad on my screen. And I'm not talking about that little green goblin fella on the right. I'm talking about Chad Bakakis, dude. This man is entering his prime. He has just turned 31. The Bakakis title run starts here. He brutally slept his last opponent. Now, he didn't really have a name to himself, but dude, he got slept. He got slept. Now, I think this is the start of something great. We've got a Baltic Chad versus an angry green man, who, to give him his credit, he had a super fun fight in his last appearance. Now, that was a scrap. That was a scrap against, it was a Turkish dude who was just brawling with people. Now, I think Ion Kutabala, after having success with that, is going to try that again. I think Bakakis is a more, I want to say a sniper in comparison to that last guy. Arslan, that's his name, Arslan. I don't think Kutabala is going to be able to succeed in the striking, where he's just brawling and fucking winging punches against him. Bakakis is going to snipe him. Ion Kutabala, he's a win-some, lose-some brawler. Now, if you check his career, he usually, wins 2 fights, loses 3, wins 1, loses 1, wins 3, loses 2. He's a weird record guy. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, he's currently on 2 wins in a row. Doesn't look good for him in history. If history's going to repeat itself, he will probably lose this fight. And, I mean, you're losing to a Chad. What can you expect? This man's going to go places. I could see Bakakis becoming a champion in 2027. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if if that holds up anywhere. But I'm going to say Modestas Bakakis via Chad bullying. He's going to bully this man for 3 rounds straight and get a 30-27 way. Just kind of dominates Ion Kutabala. He's not going to dominate him to a point where he's getting 10-8 rounds or anything like that, but he's going to look relatively dominant in his fight. He's going to win on the striking exchanges. I think we're going to see a nice little grappling increase from him. I think we're going to see a good ground game. So after that, we're going to move on to Jessica Andrade versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now, I'm going to be honest with you boys. I'm not betting on this fight, bro. It is not happening. And I say that because Jasmine Jasudavicius, she bullied Mayra Brena Silva. But boys, she lost to Tracy Cortez. Make it make sense. Bro, how do you go from beating Myra Buena Silva, who, by the way, checked her record? Kind of anyone who has a name kind of beats her. But she fought for a title recently, so we'll give her that. Mainly because women's bantamweight doesn't really have anyone. So if you get like 2 wins there, you're up next for a title shot up there. But losing to Tracy Cortez after beating her is just something I can't really get my mind behind. Because Tracy Cortez, beautiful woman. Hey, no one said she wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But as a fighter, dude, she got her eyelashes kicked off in her last fight. So I can't see how there's any consistency in this type of fight. So, and then Jessica Andrade, bro, she's the same way. Like, she slam KOs and Rose Namajunas in a title fight, and then has a split decision with Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez, if you happen to not remember her, she kind of just got dominated last week by Gillian Robertson. Now, Gillian Robertson, she looked great in that fight. Don't get me wrong, her grappling was amazing, and she smoked Marina. But Jessica Andrade, you're a top tier fighter. You've been in the top 10, top 15 for the past couple years. You can't be having close fights with Marina Rodriguez. And the striking doesn't look great from her. You know that little like bonk, or the little slippy noises you hear in the Looney Tunes cartoons. Now just play some of those sounds while you're watching Jessica Andrade fight, and they will look like you just edited in a master class. Like the way she fights is so goofy. You it's comical watching her. You gotta do a little drinking game with her where she's gonna throw something that's gonna put her off balance. You have to take a shot every time she's off balance because she just overloads a right hand and just swings on Casper the Ghost while the opponent is just staring at her like, bro, where are you throwing? So, Jasmine Jasudavicius, she fought very recently. I want to say it was on February. She fought on the Izzy versus Imavov card. So, that's pretty recent. Like, that's a quick turnaround. That's a 3-month turnaround. Even less, actually, because I think that was in the middle of the month. So, 2.5 months. She fought super recently. And momentum is a hell of a drug in this sport, boys. So, I think she's going to do amazing in this fight. And, guys, I don't know if you noticed. She's Canadian. Surprising with that last name. But when the men couldn't do it in Canada, Jasmine Jasudavicius stepped up and said, hey, men used to fight in wars. I'm stepping up, and I'm winning some fights for Canada today. And she won the last card. I'm fairly positive she was the only Canadian to win a fight in the entire last card in Canada. Not the fight night in Canada, the last numbered event. I think it was Drish's versus Sean Strickland. I may be incorrect on that. But I have Jasmine winning through decision. I'm saying probably, I want to say 29, 28, 30, 27 Jasmine. I don't think Jessica Andrade is going to have anything for her. She's going to throw some looping overhands that are just going to miss. Maybe one of them lands and maybe puts Jasmine a little off balance, but I don't think they're going to crack too much with that. But I could see Yasmin winning decision, or maybe she catches Jessica through rear naked choke. Jessica doesn't really have a great grappling game. She gets submitted fairly often. I could see Jasmine winning through submission. I'm gonna say rear naked choke or decision. Those are my 2 ways of Jasmine winning that fight. Next, we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have a banger, potential banger here. Mike Malott versus Say It Again, Radke. Say it again, Radke. So, okay, before I get here, I need to have a conversation with y'all. Go on ESPN and look up Mike Malott. Not ESPN, sorry. Go to Google and look up Mike Malott. Now, the first image you're going to see on there in the search is going to be an ESPN forum, and it's going to show you Stephen Thompson Wonderboy. Why is it showing you Stephen Thompson Wonderboy? Bro, it makes no sense. ESPN, lock in. Lock in ESPN. Same with Radke. You look up Radke on Google, and the first picture you see of him is Vincente Luque. ESPN, what are you doing, bro? Your AI is not cooking right now, and you need to get this sorted out because it's embarrassing for such a big sports broadcasting network. You need to lock in, bro. The UFC is getting massive now, and you can't be letting this slip. Regardless of the fact, we've got Mike Malott versus, say it again, Radke. Charles Radke. Mike Malott dominated Magny until Magny decided, nah, bro, I don't want to lose to you right now. I'm in Canada, you're a Canadian male. Something ain't right here. And he just folded Mike Malott on the ground. Not like a vicious knockout. He just kind of beat the crap out of him with his hands on the floor, and Mike Malott just couldn't take it anymore in the last 30 seconds of that fight, which was sad to see because Mike Malott was a promising rising star during that fight, and he kind of got derailed with that appearance in Canada where he was meant to have a star-making moment. So after that fight, he had a super boring fight, dude. And I'm scared that Mike Malott is becoming a boring fighter because he's scared of losing. And throwing him back into Canada, where he just had that super boring fight. Yeah, he went to Canada the past 2 times, I want to say he's fought. But he had a boring fight after getting slept by Magny. I'm worried, dude. I'm worried Mike Malott isn't going to be the entertaining fighter we saw him as before those fights, and I feel like Radke's going to bully him this fight. Radke's not going to let someone be boring around him. He's a fun, explosive fighter. He's going to lunge in at you. He's going to throw stuff at you. He was having a very entertaining fight with Carlos Protes before ultimately got kneed in the stomach and keeled over and begged for forgiveness. But that's his only loss. That is Charles Radke's only loss in the UFC, if y'all haven't noticed. So, I think it's going to be super entertaining. Also, another fun fact about him, he just dropped merchandise. Now, if you guys don't know that merchandise, I would tell y'all to look it up. I'm not going to say it on this channel, but say it again, Radke. Say it again. I think this is going to give him incentive. I mean, he wants those not pay-per-view numbers, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He wants those sales numbers on his merchandise. And what better way to get that than to get a brutal finish over a Canadian wonder boy, Mike Malott, in his hometown in front of all of his fans. You whoop him, you hop on the mic, and you say it again, Radke, and then push that you are dropping this merchandise. I think it's just the incentive for him to do it is going to really give him a great performance. So I could see Charles Radke just kind of steamrolling Mike Malott this fight. I'm going to say round 1 TKO. Boys, I've been assuming there's going to be a lot of finishes in this card. Once we get to the main card, that's going to start slowing down. I think the prelims are going to be very entertaining for this fight card, but I don't think the main card is going to be super entertaining. So after this, we're moving on to... oh, what a fight this could have been. So originally it was Benoit Saint Denis versus Joel Alvarez. That would have fed generations. Instead, now we're fighting Kyle Prepolek. Now, he is coming from a stint in the UFC where he lost 2 fights. I want to say both by a decision. Where they just... One was against, was it Austin Hubert? Which was, dude, it was not a great fight. And it's not a great look for Kyle Prepolek. He lost his 2 UFC fights. Then went to, it was some regional promotion, won a split decision against some guy that's now in the PFL. So that's a decent win. That's not a terrible win. But Benoit Saint Denis, he just got off his fight with Renato Moicano. He's looking for vengeance, dude. He just got dominated in that fight. Got stopped through doctor's stoppage because he was bleeding too much. Before that, he's fighting Dustin Poirier. Kyle Prepolek has nothing on this guy, dude. It's not going to be close. It better not be close, Benoit Saint Denis, or your career's on the line, dude. You need a win right now. He should be hungrier than ever because he needs a win right now if he wants to get back to where he was almost outside of title contention. If he won that fight against Dustin, he's fighting Islam Makhachev for a title. We could have saw Islam Makhachev versus Benoit Saint Denis. Let that sink in. He's at the door right now. I just think he's better than Kyle Prepolek in every section of MMA. I just don't think Kyle Prepolek can win this fight. I don't know. He was training for Yoel Alvarez, who is a 6'3" killer. Yoel Alvarez is a murderer, dude. He has amazing striking. He has amazing grappling. Benoit Saint Denis is training for both an executioner for striking, for grappling. Now we get a 3.5 star prospect. Like, you just started your UFC 5 career mode. They're throwing you through the WFA. You're fighting 1 star, 2 star opponents. And right before you get your little Dana White Contender Series chance, you gotta fight Kyle Prepolek, bro. The 3 star, little AI man right here. He doesn't look real. He does not look real. Dude. And fun fact, he fought Kevin Lee in 2013 in a Michigan regional competition, which that's pretty cool. Lost that fight because I don't think this guy can beat anyone that isn't an amateur. Check his record. If you're a name, you're gonna beat him. If you're into UFC, you're gonna beat him. Doesn't matter how good you are. But he did beat in a regional fight a guy named Benoit. So hey, he's 1-0 against Benoit so far. We'll have to see how this goes. And if Benoit, this is me speaking to you personally. If you lose this fight, you're done, buddy. You're done. You need to go if you lose this fight. But I don't think it's gonna happen. So I'm gonna say Benoit Saint Denis through stoppage. I'm gonna say before round 3. I could see it early round 2, maybe late round 2. He's gonna stop this man. And if you don't, you're cooked, buddy. This man was in the French military, and he was a stud in that stuff. And now he's fighting cans. What's going on here? Then we're getting on to the main card, because I don't think, since Yoel Alvarez dropped out, I don't think this fight is on the main card anymore. I might be wrong with that. Also, real fast before we move on from here, Gamrot just posted on Twitter saying Benoit Saint Denis turned down a fight with him on short notice. Let me shake your hand, Benoit Saint Denis. Let me greet your manager. What a smart business decision that was. You need to thank him. A little tip on the side. Give him a 20% next time you pay him, because that man just saved your career. If you would have lost to Gamrot in short notice, your career would be done. Not saying Gamrot's a bad fighter. We all know he's not a bad fighter. But 3 losses in a row, dude, that's hard to come back from. And getting wrestle smudged in a short notice fight, dude, that's just not how you want to do it. It's a great idea to not take that fight. Maybe later, after a couple more wins, take that fight for sure. But thank God you did not take that. Let's move on to the next fight. I'm going to say this is starting the main card. Once again, don't know how it's going with Yoel Alvarez dropping out. But we have my love. We have Alexa Grasso. Oh my God, versus Natalia Silva. Ladies, please stop fighting for my love. I mean, this fight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be watching with my eyes peeled on that screen. I'm not gonna be looking away 1 second. My friends talk to me, I'm shutting them up, bro. Alright, let my queens fight real fast. Let the women talk right now. When women talk, you listen, boys. In the past 2.5 years, Grasso has only fought Valentina Shevchenko. She has only fought one of the best women's MMA fighters in history, second only to Amanda Nunes. I mean, how do you get better than that? You're training for a killer, an amazing fighter. It's hard to get better than that. You're training for peak, you're going to perform at peak. She's an excellent boxer, and I don't know if you guys were aware, Diego Lopez is in her corner. Now, I know he's been feeling down recently. He was in the corner of Smotherman last weekend, and unfortunately he lost. Lopez lost in 3-14. It's time for Lopez to get a win again. So he's going to be super focused. He's making sure our girl, Alexa Grassos, can get this win. And I'm excited for this fight, boys. However, Natalia Silva, on the other hand, is on a 12-fight win streak. I don't know if the UFC has really been pushing this, but that is an insane feat. Now, Sorry, I brought up feet. Alexa Grasso. I'm not talking about you right now. Stop that. 12 fight win streak by Natalia Silva. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing my queen's name. She put on a striking masterclass against Jessica Andrade, her last fight, where she just kind of pitter-patter struck her. She wouldn't get hit. She was dancing around. She was making Jessica miss everything. She was just kind of bullying her on the feet. Unfortunately, she doesn't really have that type of power in her hands. She's kind of like, I want to say, a volume striker. She's like a Max Holloway without power, but more kicks. Yeah, I'll say Max Holloway with less power, more kicks. And by less power, I mean non-existent power. Like, she's not dropping anyone. Don't drop my queen, Alexa Grasso, please. So this will be a fun fight. I think whoever can incorporate for wrestling. We haven't really seen either of them wrestle. We know they're both pretty good with jiu-jitsu. I think wrestling is going to be the way this turns out. I think this fight, whoever wins this, could be next for the title. There's not a lot of title talks coming from that. Is it flyweight? Yeah, the flyweight division. I don't see a lot of title talks coming from that. So I could definitely see this fight. Winner of this gets the next title shot. Unless they have Zhang Wei Li fighting Valentina Shevchenko after this fight. That's the only way I see this happening. But they don't seem too excited about a women's double title fight, which is unfortunate because I think that would be an amazing fight. And Zhang Weili and Valentina Shevchenko both deserve it. I mean, there's no one else left to fight at this point. I have this fight going to a controversial split decision where it could go either way. I'm going to say Natalia Silva. She's on a 12-fight win streak. Momentum carries you, dude. Momentum is a hell of a drug, and it's going to get her far. I could see her winning this fight through a split decision. I think it's going to be super close, but that's how I see it happening. Moving up the main card, we have Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Now, before we get anywhere in this, we are all putting the house on this going to the decision. This is not getting finished, boys. This is going to round 3, and we are all putting our life savings and our houses on this fight. Now, Jose Aldo, best win in the past 4 years. Please don't kill me for this. I'm just speaking facts. Facts, unfortunately, do not care about your opinions. His best win in the past 4 years was Jonathan Martinez. You can throw Rob Font in there if you think he's that good. I don't think he's that great. But Jonathan Martinez was a nice little prospect rising up the ranks before he got beat by Jose Aldo. In the last 3 fights, this man has spent more time rubbing up against the cage like a bear against a little fence post than he has actually fighting. Dude, it was 20 minutes against Marab and John Bautista, which sucks. It was really sad to see. But you can't get mad at John Bautista and Marab. If you have a blueprint that's going to get you a win and the other fighter has no interest in getting out of it, why would you stop? And it's going to work clearly. You can throw all the emotes in the world you want, but dude, if you're getting held up against the cage, and the leg strikes, I guess, are active enough, huh? Thanks, Herb Dean. So, if Zahabi wants to win this fight, his main plan is to smudge him against the cage. However, I would hope Jose Aldo has at least put some training into getting away from the cage. I mean, ultimately, I feel like we all know this. This fight or his next fight is going to be his last fight, let's be real. If he wins this fight, I think they give him a legend, and he gets a nice little walk-off into the sunset. He is a nice retirement, Aldo. Stay retired. You've earned this, King. You really have, because you're a great fighter. People put you at the featherweight. No, sorry. Yes, featherweight GOAT. I'm sorry, boys. I don't believe it. But you're great. You're up there. But you are not the greatest of all time at featherweight. I'm sorry, man. We're moving on to Zahabi. I got into a little bit of a yop session. Sorry, boys. He's beat Pedro Munoz. So is everyone else. If you're a name in bantamweight, you beat Pedro Munoz. That's just how it is. Unless you're Sean O'Malley and you poke him in the eye, and he apparently just becomes blind for the rest of the fight. He did not want that smoke against Sean O'Malley. That's what it is. He's on a 5-fight win streak. Now, Javid Basharat, before he got slept by Simon, dude, oh my god, he got slept. He lost to Sahabi. That was his first ever MMA loss, which was huge at the time. That was a big little hardcore fight, if you all were paying attention. That was a big loss for the hardcores. Zahabi handed him that loss, and it wasn't really a crazy fight. It was just kind of I think he landed about 10 more significant strikes in the overall fight and won through that, which was kind of unfortunate. You would have liked to see a bit more of an entertaining fight from those two. But Zahabi, I've been watching a couple of his fights recently. He has sloppy striking. If you look at it, you need to have precise striking to beat Jose Aldo. You look at people that beat Jose Aldo. You look at the strikers. You've got Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. You've got Alex Volkanovski. You've got these pinpoint strikers. These technical strikers that just, their peak at striking. Zahabi is going to swing at you. Now, he might not land, but he's going to swing at you. I don't think he's technical enough to beat Jose Aldo on the feet. So smudging is where his game plan is going to come, and it's going to be lame to watch. However, I can see Jose Aldo winning a 29-28 decision, and I want him to retire here. Or otherwise, if they give him a Legends fight, which unfortunately I don't see them doing. I feel like they will give him a loser fight, like against some up-and-coming killer. And no one wants to see it. We want to see Jose Aldo go out in a nice fight, a little banger. It's winnable for him. We want him to have a winnable fight and get a retirement package. If he doesn't get a retirement package, but they give Anthony Lionheart Smith a retirement package, there will be a war, UFC. This is me declaring that upon you right now. Moving on from that, we go on to the co-main event of the evening. We have Valentina Shevchenko versus Manot Florot. Now, Valentina Shevchenko, I'm sorry I'm about to glaze here. You are the best active women's MMA fighter at the moment. I say active. Shang Wei Li comes second without a doubt for me. I think Valentina Shevchenko, we all know she's an amazing kickboxer. Oh my god, she was a beautiful kickboxer. There's a picture of her that is, mwah, chef's kiss. But she's just better on the feet than Manon Florot. I would consider her a kickboxer. A bit of a clunky, powerful kickboxer. Likely, you can kind of relate her to DDP. I haven't seen this comparison a lot, but I could see DDP of WMMA in her. It's kind of, hey, watch her fight, you'll see it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now. Before Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko hadn't lost in 6 years, boys. I don't think Manon Florot is going to be able to beat Valentina Shevchenko, which is, I think this fight won't be super entertaining. I think this is where Valentina Shevchenko is going to show levels in this. For example, Manon Florot allowed Blanchfield to land 130 significant strikes against her. You better not let Valentina Shevchenko land 130 significant strikes against you, because you're going to get put out. Valentina Shevchenko has pretty good power for her division. She's able to drop people when she puts a little bit of oomph into her punches and kicks. She's able to drop people. I think Manon Florot might get dropped a couple times in this fight, because she's clunky. She kind of leaves herself open to get hit. Valentina Shevchenko is going to take care of it. And she might take her down. I can see that. Manon Florot hasn't really been tested in the takedown yet. She kind of fights mid-grapplers. Like Erin Blanchfield, she went for a couple takedowns. She went for 4, I want to say, and went 0 for 4. I don't think her takedown attempts were very good, though. So I could see Valentina Shevchenko just beating her up on the ground. Maybe putting her in a crucifix and just beating her up a couple times there. I think we're about to see a Valentina Shevchenko masterclass, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying 50-44 going to the decision. And she's going to show levels in this. She really is. Ben, boys, we're moving on to the main event of the evening. The fight everyone has been waiting for today. The main event, of course, being Bilal. Remember the name? Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena, JDM. Boys, I hope you I hope you don't mind a bit of controversy here. I'm having a crazy take this fight. It's gonna be the most controversial one of this video for sure. Bilal Muhammad, he has Canelo hands. Let's be real here. He brought it up in his last little embedded video. Him and his coach were talking about it. Let's see those hands, and I think we're going to see him this fight. I think he's gonna have an insane amount of confidence after just bullying. Don't let him bully you, son. He kind of just bullied Leon Edwards his last fight. Now, don't get me wrong, Leon Edwards won 2 rounds of that fight, but those 2 rounds he run did not mean anything because those 3 rounds he lost, he got bullied in. He got dunked on his head. Embarrassed. Like a cookie in milk. Dunked. Which is embarrassing. You can't be letting Bilal Muhammad do that to you. That's bad. Now, JDM, one of the most beautiful, technical boxers in this sport. You see him fight, oh, you're like, oh, this is Picasso in the making right here. This man is beautiful with his boxing. His nose, a little crooked, a little cooked, but his boxing, crisper than anything. Now, I want to make sure this man has been training his takedown defense. Against Gilbert Burns, he was getting taken down. Against his fight against Basil Hafez, he kind of got tucked down by him a couple times. Now, don't get me wrong, Basil Hafez did literally nothing, and was probably a little roided out. Let's not lie here. He's probably a little roided, but he got taken down by him, Gilbert Burns, and I don't like that luck. But he's had a while to train. I've noticed Craig Jones is in his camp at the moment, so he's been training his BJJ, his takedown defense, I'd hope, learning how to stand up from these positions. I'm excited. I'm excited for this fight. A lot of people see Bilal Muhammad and they immediately think snooze fest. Let's be real. I'm one of those people usually. I have a bit of hatred for Bilal because he smoked my boy Leon after I became a fan of him. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a hype train. Not a hype train, sorry. I'm a little bit of a bandwagon. But he's from my country, so I'm allowed to be that. He smoked my boy. And I don't like that. No one really wants him to win this fight. Let's be real. Unless you're one of those little bums on Twitter who just like to rage bait everyone, you don't want to see this man win. He's a detriment to the sport. Sorry, Bilal. I love you. Please respond to my message on Instagram. That was a couple years ago and you didn't respond. However, not a lot of people want to see you win, and I'm sorry about that. Maybe it's the personality, but you've been gaining fans, and I like that. If we see a little bit of trash talk during this week, I think he could definitely win some fans. Because Bilal's a funny guy, dude. He's a funny guy. Did the pussy just walk in the elevator with us? Yeah, the pussy just walked in the elevator with us. I think he's going to have the confidence to strike with JDM, which I don't think is going to be great at the start. Once again, he whooped Leon Edwards. So this confidence to make him strike, he's going to have it, dude. He just whooped him. Why wouldn't he think he's a great striker? He just beat a great striker, which is not it's not looking great after seeing how Sean Brady neutralized him with the takedowns in a lot better fashion than Bilal did. But JDM, I'm hoping you're able to stop those takedowns a bit. I think, okay, I'm going to say this now. We'll see how I think the fight's going to go later. But I think he's going to have an amazing performance. I think JDM, people are going to look at him and be like, damn, this guy's really going to be in the top 3 fighters of this weight class for a while now. I could see him fighting, what's that guy's name? Ian Gary? Yeah, he's smoking him. He's knocking Ian Gary out. Let's not lie here. He's smoking him. Shavkat, entertaining fight. Think that could be super entertaining, and we will definitely be seeing that because JDM's gonna stay up in this division. Now I say that, boys, because I think Bilal's gonna find a way to win this fight. Now I say this because I want JDM to win. With how the UFC has went this past 2 years of me being the mega fan I am, I've been a big fan of UFC, but I've recently became a crazy hardcore in the past 2 years. Every time I want something for the good of the sport to happen, it goes the opposite way. No, that being said, JDM winning would be good for the sport. You would get a ton of Aussie fans. We could see some banger fights with him. That's why I think Bilal's about to win. And even worse event, I think Bilal's about to get a finish here, boys. Very unpopular opinion. I think JDM's going to be boxing him. He might land a couple at the start. I think he's going to be beating up Bilal on the feet. And then he's going to get nervous of that takedown. And he's going to start getting ragdolled a little bit. He might be able to get up a couple times, but Bilal he's a pressure fighter, dude. He's going to keep taking him down and kind of bullying him on the ground, which I'm not looking forward to. I don't see him getting a TKO on the ground. I see Bilal getting a submission. I want to say maybe a rear naked, which it's going to be brutal to see, but I could see a rear naked choke in round 4. So that is my pick. And that is my picks for all of this card. We will be doing a reaction video to all of my picks, seeing how I went for the entire card. But I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy the fights. Spend the fights with your boys. That's the best way to do it. Go to your local bar, get some beers with the boys, and watch some amazing fights. I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing time, boys.